clap for him. Next up is Kevin. I asked Kevin if he would be willing to do a program, and he had less than a week to do it, and I really appreciate it. And Kevin, the floor is yours, so go ahead, and whatever we can do to help you on this, let me know.
All right. This is basically about how to edit a video. And, you know, we've all, I'm sure, taken pictures and stuff like that. And so I wanted to go through, I don't have a PowerPoint, but I do have a video, and I wanted to go through like a demo of how to use one of the video editing. It's a freebie piece of software on Windows, and just show you basically what it's like. So to start off with, you know, if you've been emailing pictures back and forth with people and sending them with your instant messages and stuff like that, that's not too hard to do. But there's a big difference with a video in that a video file is much larger than a photo. And you can take a 1-minute video and end up with a bunch of megabytes. And if you try to start emailing these and stuff like that, you can run into issues. If not with your email program, then just it takes an awful long time for the other guy to download it or for you to upload it to the mail server, stuff like that. So another end of this would be, if you're taking a video, what do you want to do with it? You want to share it. And I can show you some of that too, but basically there's 2 ways to do it that I would recommend. One is by creating something, a YouTube channel, and another one is on Vimeo. YouTube is by far and away the largest thing out there. And if you go in and you say, I want to create, they call it a channel. You can create a channel and make you log in. I use my Google login with Gmail. And basically you can then upload videos to that thing and share links with people. And that, I think, is probably the best way to do it. There's a bunch of smaller ones up there. I don't know if any of you are familiar with PhotoBucket, but PhotoBucket used to be about 2% of the traffic on the internet, and that's where everybody shared photos. And I'm on a bunch of forums for model railroading. And if you start searching some of the old threads, you'll find out that half the pictures are gone. And the pictures are gone because PhotoBucket overnight turned from free, store all the pictures you want here, to for $400 a year, we will let you share all those pictures you've stored with other people. And that was a real burn job. I'm pretty sure that something like YouTube is not going to burn you. It's owned by Google. They make a ton of money off of it. And although they are free to change their business model anytime they want, as at this time, their business model is they're going to show you ads. So hopefully they'll never charge you to be able to share a video. So I'm going to try sharing my screen here. I'm hoping to show you a couple different things, so we'll see how it works. Screen, whiteboard. I want screen. You should be able to see an ugly looking anemone. Is that anybody?
Yep.
I see it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, so then the first thing that I do when I'm going to do this is I just create a folder to put things in. I called this one Film Edit Demo. And I find my files, my video files, I drop them into there. So we'll do a little note on that. I already created a video, and I'll show you this, and hopefully you guys can see this. If you can't see this thing starting up, let me know. You see it?
Yep, sure
Okay,
do.
good.
Yep. See it.
So
Oh, neat.
basically what I've done here is this is a comparison of 3 different cameras that I have that are capable of taking HD movies. And one of them is my Canon SLR. This thing, I would not recommend using an SLR, although if you have a wide angle lens, it'll probably be perfectly good. In order to try to get something called the field of view to be wide, I had to change the settings. It comes with a 150-page manual, and I had to access that manual many times to figure out how to do it. And there's an example of that in the rest of this video. Another one that I have is a simple point and shoot camera. This thing has an advantage in that it allows you to zoom in and out, but it's basically pretty simple for taking pictures. This particular one is my Kevin-proof camera. It's waterproof, it's shock resistant. I can drop it in the river and it won't care. And then the third one, and the one that I would probably recommend depending on your phone, is just a smartphone. This particular one is a Galaxy S7, which I think came out about 4 years ago. I'm sure the ones that are out now are better. And I'll show you examples of what you get with these. And if you're familiar with photography, you know what the field, the focus, the area of focus is. This is with the SLR, zoomed out as far as I can go. This is where I tried to improve the exposure with a smaller f-stop. And then this is with my Coolpix, which has an even wider angle. And I don't know if you can see the quality of the detail, but this one is better than the other ones. So basically what we're talking about is this depth of field. If you focus on something, and this is just the same with regular photography, if you focus on something and you go look at things that are farther away or things that are closer to the camera from where you focused, you'll find that things get more and more out of focus as you go. And the depth of field really is what you want with model railroading. And the depth of field is best with a wide angle lens and a small aperture. With photos, you can take a long time exposure with a little tiny pinhole aperture and get really, really good depth of field. But you're kind of limited with that with your videos, because you have to take a frame every 30 times a second. So you're not going to be taking any 2-second exposures if you got to take 30 a second. It can't be more than a 30th of a second. And the other thing to watch out for on these is how to get the file from your camera to your computer where you're going to be doing the editing. And the Canon and the point and shoot, it's really easy to just take the SD card out. And if you don't have an SD slot in your computer, for about 10 bucks, you can buy a converter where you plug it into this little box, and then you plug the box into a USB, and it just shows up as a new disk drive on your computer, and you can copy the files from there and paste them over to your computer. Of all of the cameras that I have, I like my point and shoot the best. But to be honest with you, I take most of my movies with the cell phone. The problem that I have with the cell phone is taking the SD card out is kind of a pain in the butt. So I end up using Bluetooth. And Bluetooth for a 1-minute video, at least on my old phone, it takes about 10 minutes to transfer it over. So there's quite a wait. You're basically going out and having a cup of coffee, waiting for the file to show up.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely, anytime.
Yeah, I have a Note 8, and I had seen something that Windows 10 now you can directly download from the camera to your laptop or whatever.
Yep.
And I don't know, I haven't tried that or know how that works. And anyway.
Yeah, I've seen, my camera is like my phone is like 4 years old, and I never saw anything on there for that. I know there are also ways to upload it to the cloud. Although, again, Google just announced that they're going to cut back on the amount of space that they let you use for free on the cloud. So,
Yeah, well, it seems I'd heard that Windows 10 now has a revision, so that now you can directly download it from your phone.
yeah, you can create a network, like it's just a node on the network, and
Mhm.
do that with. But again, your phone has to be capable too. But you can do it with Wi-Fi. Like I said, I use Bluetooth. Mine doesn't have the Wi-Fi capability. A lot of cameras have Wi-Fi capability, but I did that once, and it wasn't anywhere near as fast as opening the camera, taking out the SD card, and sticking it in my laptop slot. It was definitely faster that way. So what I ended up doing is I got files over to a directory and basically copied them over here, Bluetoothed them over here. And then I wanted to do this because all the files that I'm going to use for this particular video, I want to put them in the same place. So the next thing I did is I brought up a video editing program that's free. And I've tried a couple of these. The one I like best, although I have no idea, I suspect it won't work on an Apple product, is the Microsoft Windows Movie Maker. And this thing has actually been discontinued by Microsoft, but you can still download it. It sits on your computer, not on the cloud. It doesn't have a lot of the super duper special effects and everything that some of the other ones have, but it's simple. I also looked at some YouTube videos demonstrating a couple other ones and tried one of them, this NCH thing here, and I was very disappointed. When I tried using it, it seemed to be basically the same as Windows Movie Maker, and I suspect they all have some things in common. But when I tried to save what I had done, I basically took a simple movie file and tried to clip the front and the back. Because the front, you always see the camera move because I'm turning on the video, and the back, you always see the camera move because I'm turning it off again. And when I tried to save it to an MP4 or a .movie, guess what? They wanted $30. So, so I don't know how many free things are out there, but watch out for them. Like I said, I was quite happy with Windows Movie Maker.
Have they changed? Do they have a different movie maker now, or are they just done away with it, period?
I haven't seen it. It says that it's not supported anymore, and yet there are sites where you can download it.
Okay.
So I don't know. You should be able to see the Movie Maker interface here. Can everybody see that?
Yeah, the black screen on the left there.
Yeah, okay. So the trick to showing more than one window is to have your background window and then bring up whatever you want. It'll show it. Good. So the first thing you do is you can add these files. Let's see, does it remember where I was? Yeah, it does. And so I'll say, I want these files. You can bring them in one at a time. And when you bring it in, it'll show something over here. This is kind of like a place where you can clip, you can cut things and paste them. I don't know if anybody has ever actually worked in the old days with real film, but with real film, when you edited, you actually took a pair of scissors. Well, there was a little slicer. It was like a little tiny paper cutter. And you sliced the film and then you taped it to the next scene. And you could look at it frame by frame and say, I'm cutting right after this frame. and I'm going to take this frame and paste it. So this is a clip. It's just one raw piece that goes into a video. And it's kind of like, you know, part of what's going to, what I'm going to turn the video into. The thing that I noticed here and on the other program that I tried is there's a little place here where you can show the clip and it'll run it for you. And it's nowhere near as clear here as it is when you show it outside of this, or when you end up saving a file. So this looks blurry. And what I wanted to do here is I wanted to take 3 of these clips. This is just for the demo, and then paste them together, get rid of, you know, the blank stuff at the start and the end, and then create an MP4 file out of it that I can put up on YouTube or somewhere, or show it to somebody. So if we go back, what I usually do, you can drag this here and see exactly where you are, or you can just run it and say pause and say, I want to start this clip right there. Everything before that is terribly boring. And so there is an edit menu, and I can say set start point. I can also say set end point. I can cut it into little pieces and move the pieces around and so on. And then if I bring it through and I say, I think I want to end the clip right about there, let's pause it. Let's make it, things are going out of focus. We'll put it right about there, and we'll say set the end point. And I now have this little piece. So I've cut off the boring beginning and the boring end. If I go back and I add my other 2, I can do 2 of them this time. It takes a little while to process these before you can see it over here, and they're faded out until it does. There's a little stop clock. I noticed the other program that I was running did the same thing, but I think it's processing a high-res film and turning it into a low-res copy so that you can edit it a lot faster. So this is clip number 2. And clip number 2, if we walk through it,
Kevin,
we see Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you were starting to break up there a little bit, and I had a question. The engine jerked as it went across. We talked about that because of bandwidth.
Yep.
Was it also jerking for you looking
No.
at it? Okay, so
No.
we're losing some of that in the air getting to our computer.
All right. And it may look different for different users depending on the internet. I was kind of worried about that with videos because we had a problem with them at work while we were using similar software. I think it's if you're showing, you know, a video about, or a demo about videos, I don't know exactly how to work around it.
No, well, but it's good for the guys to see that, to see the problems we run into when we try these different experiments.
Right.
You know,
Right.
home layout videos we were talking about, and you were advising that we have to worry about the jerkiness.
Yeah. You know, the other jerkiness is while you're taking the picture.
Yes. Yep.
So on some of these, I'm hand holding them, and you can see if I'm panning. You know, sometimes I'm traveling. When you hold your camera to take the video, I lock my elbows at my side, and I kind of move my whole body along because I'm a lot smoother doing that than I am trying to take this little thing and move it, you know, independently of me. So it's having a steady hand or a good tripod really helps. But again, if you got a wide angle lens, at least it's not going to, you know, magnify with like a telephoto does every little jiggle you make. So here I'm going to say I want to start this clip here. It's kind of boring up till about that point when the engine comes out from behind the tree. And again, I'll go cut it there. I was expecting it to say set start point again, but it didn't. Trim tool. Well, now I'm lost. I wanted to drag this, and it's not letting me.
Kevin, upper left is set start point.
Ah, there it is. Thank you. But why isn't it moving the thing over here? I guess it's one of those things where you got so many ways of doing it that you can see my fingers starting to get in the way here in the upper right. So I'm gonna stop it right there. All right. And then I guess save trim. I haven't been in this before. Not really sure why that happened. And then if I go to this one, we'll see what this one looks like. So I've got some finger in the way here. And then I'll cut it, I don't know, somewhere around there when it's done with the bridge. Right about there. There should be a set start, yep. And then if I go all the way to about there, I'm gonna end it and say set end. And at this point, I should have the whole clip, and I can run it while I'm talking here so that you can see that I basically took those three clips, trimmed them, and so on. You can also rearrange these. You can drag and drop them. If you've got a clip, you can break it in two and put half of the clip one place and the other half of the clip the other, and so on. The other thing that you can get into has to do with sound. And I don't know if any of you are interested in that. When I put things up on YouTube video, I usually have a sound that I add to the background. And that basically you're taking, I can show you on the internet here. Hopefully it will work. But if you look in YouTube, there is let's see if I've got one of these. There is a link that they provide to some of their stuff. And to be honest with you, I like a different one better. Their sound files are okay. When you get into sound though, there's a critical problem, and that is that you're not allowed to show, not allowed to play copyrighted stuff on YouTube. And that means that you can't take your favorite Led Zeppelin song and have it in the background. And in fact, one guy posted that he had a radio playing in the background, and partway through the video, it started playing a song, and YouTube removed it after a couple of days. And they said that he was violating copyright notice. So the problem with that is that you don't want to put on probably any song you ever heard of. And the good thing is that there's a lot of free songs out there. This is one of the ones that I've used. It's just called Free Music Archive. And how do I get this to go away? I don't know what those do. There we go. And you can just say, hey, I like jazz. I want to see jazz. And you have no idea what these are, but you can play them one at a time. So, nah, I don't like that. How about this one? And you finally find one you like, and then you can download it. With this particular site, they'll have a something that will tell you if you're free to use it for free. And there's a bunch of different classes, but it's usually you can use it any way you want. You can use it as long as you don't make money off of it. You can use it as long as you don't make money off of it and you give us attribution, which means you gotta give credit for the song somewhere. And then the last one, of course, is you pay royalties if you want to use this. So, you know, some of them, I think I used this one. Yeah, maybe not. But it basically, what I do is I download it from here and then I go put it back in the same directory with this thing. And then when I am in a Movie Maker, I can set the sound and say, that's the sound I want. If you don't do that, by default, you get whatever sounds on your video. And you can also say, hey, I want the music to be 40% of the volume and the video to be 60%, and so on. When you're done with this, and let's say that I'm done here, I'm happy with it, then there's a couple of other things you can do. One is you can add a title screen. And the title screen, you can basically type whatever you want here. I'll just make it video demo or Movie Maker demo. And you can say how long, where the title screen should be. For some reason, it's this line instead of where you wanted it to be, maybe. Oops. And you can actually put it anywhere you want, and you can say, I want it to show up for 4 seconds. And then when you play, you see there's another clip up here all of a sudden, and that's your title screen. Now, somehow I've accidentally added another one. Yeah, that's where it should be. Let's put that over here. Let's make that one real. And this one's got nothing in it, so I'm just going to delete it. Cut, remove. There. So basically, going back here, you can add or remove these, and when you add a title or you add credits, it shows up at the beginning of the end. And the other thing that you can do is you can say, hey, right about here, I want a caption to show up. And so you can type in the caption and you can say, and then here you can set the color, how long it's going to stay up there for. You can edit the format. Where is the colors? There's a way to change the colors so that they're not white. Except that I don't see it right now. Here we go. So if white isn't going to show up for you, you can change it to black or whatever color you want. In my case, white didn't show up very well because the background is pretty white. So let's go with a nice dark one like that. And then when you do that, I said it's going to show up for 5 seconds. So you can set it to be up there for however long you want. And you can set, and you can put a caption in wherever you want, basically. I usually add captions a lot because they can add a lot of information to something. And then finally, at the end, you can decide if you want to add credits. And so when you're adding credits, the real reason you need to add credits is if you've taken a song that says, we want you to attribute something. And so I'll put in here the name of the song, you know, music by, name of the artist, and then name of the song. And if I've got, you can also add photos to this. It's kind of, you know, if you want to show a picture, it's very much like adding, it says adding videos or photos. So you can grab a picture, and if you add that, it'll show up. You can move it to where you want, and you can change that time, like we did with the title screen. You can change the time to say, this is how long I want the picture to show up for in this video. When you're done, or maybe you should be doing this before you're done, you can save the project. And it's basically going to save it to, I always put it in the same directory that I've got my photos. So now we've got this, this .wimp file. I don't think anything in the universe understands what a .wimp file is, other than Windows, the film editor program. But what you really want to do, and what the key is, and this is kind of where the rubber hits the road, is you want to say, I want to save my movie. Okay, so if you go to save movie, there's different settings you can use. I've never used anything other than recommended for this project, and it's worked just fine. I think if you have a 4K camera, good for you, then you could probably save it to HD, which is more like a 1080p. And when you do that, again, it's in the thing, I'll just say my demo, and it's an MP4. There's other file formats that you can use, but the only ones that I'm familiar with is MP4s and .movs. And I've always saved it to an MP4. And then when you save it, it takes a while, because it's like, I don't know, upverting it back into the high res from the low res that it's been showing you. So we'll wait for it here. Never did add any credits. I should have deleted those. And then when it's done, yeah. When it's done, you can see that now you've got an MP4 file. So this MP4 file is something, if I double click it, it just brings up, it doesn't bring up the Windows Movie Maker, it brings up something else. It's a lot clearer than it was in Windows Movie Maker, and it's basically your whole movie. If you want to edit this, if you decide later on you need to change this after you've created the MP4, there's two ways to do it. One is you can just create a new project and say, I want this MP4 to be the project. The other one is that you can just reopen your .wimp file, and it'll show all those individual clips and everything again. But this is basically how you do it. There's the good old credit screen. And that's about it. Like I said, I end up sharing these by putting them up on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. If you look at the size of this file, this ended up being almost 100 meg, 92 meg, which is bigger than most email programs will allow you to post. So that's why you need to do that. Later on, if you want to come back, you can just double click this. It'll bring up the movie maker again. And I don't know if I can email this out. I don't think I have everybody's email, but there is a link. I just Googled Windows Movie Maker download, and one of the ones that showed up kind of sort of looked like this, but it wasn't the same thing. They're trying to trick you, but winmoviemaker.com was the good one.
I have a question on the music.
Yep.
I bought a CD at Cracker Barrel. It was railroad, mainly with the banjo, violins, guitar, fiddles, guitar, and that.
Yeah.
Can't remember if there's any singing voices or not. I think it was all instrumentals, but it was kind of a no-name thing. And I've used it as background music for the few videos I did of my railroad. Kind of worked out good for Nashville Railroad, and I was wondering, how far did they go into trying to figure out if music is protected or not?
I don't know the answer to that. They must have some software that goes through the uploaded videos at some point and checks against some kind of database to see if it's a song that they know of. As to, it's a good question. I don't know, but the fact that the guy just had the music in the background, I mean, it wasn't even that loud compared to what was going on in his video. And they removed it and they informed him that it was because he was violating copyright. I don't know how they do it. They've got computers running all the time, and
Right.
apparently they're pretty good.
I wonder if they're doing to the old videos, because my old videos are still there. Of course, that music is still on it. They haven't taken anything off.
You put it on, if you put it on YouTube and it stays up, I think you're good.
Yeah. I was just wondering if over time they go through all these, because you think of the videos they have on YouTube.
This guy said that it was, all of a sudden it was removed after like 2.5 days or something.
Oh,
So
okay.
it wasn't while he posted it, it was later on somehow.
Right. I suppose somebody could turn him in too.
Yeah, I suppose, they can get, I mean, they're worried about getting sued by the artists and
Sure.
rightfully so.
Yeah.
And I would think that they're pretty conservative about it, but to me, it's like, if you got a Led Zeppelin song, but you're playing it on your own guitar and recording it, would they catch that? The fact that, the song is copyrighted, but your performance of it is not, I have no idea. I mean, those are good questions.
Right.
If you bought the lyrics, you bought the sheet music. Yeah, I don't know what kind of, is that can constitute paying the royalty?
As far as I know, it is not.
Yeah.
As far as I know, if you like get a CD, okay, and you got a song on it, you can copy that song to any device you own, but you're not supposed to copy it to anything else. And you can get sued if you start making money off of it. So if you put it as a background music to an advertisement or something like that, that's generating revenue, they're going to catch you, and they're going to say, hey, you owe us royalties, or there'll be a court order or something to pull it down. It's this is what, when you look up, like, what do they say, BMI and ASCAP?
Yeah.
That's what they do. I mean, that's the whole reason for joining them, is so that they catch stuff like that. So
In many cases, the artist doesn't own the copyright. The producer or the company that they went through owns the copyright.
yeah,
They have bigger and better lawyers.
yeah, they sold it to somebody, and somebody has a whole bunch of lawyers out after. And I gotta believe too, if it's just I don't know how YouTube got sued, but I can't believe that they'd go after somebody who had a YouTube with 1,000 hits on it. But you're not the one necessarily making the money off of the YouTube video. YouTube is. They're putting up ads and they're getting revenue for it.
Yeah.
And it's their responsibility to keep everything clean, above board, and legal. And the song people take this stuff very seriously, and I'm sure YouTube does too. Yeah, the one that snuck in, oh, you want to save a file? Now our free thing is no longer free. It's $40. That was called VideoPad.
Kevin?
Yeah.
You said you do usually short movies. What is sort of the length that you do, or would you say?
Well, That depends on you. When I do these things, I'm posting them on things like nscale.net. And if you look at my signature on nscale.net, I've got a link to one of my I don't know if it'll show it here. I've got a link to one of my videos. Here. Let's see if I can find mine. Yeah, there I am. So I put a link to it down here. And so the people that are watching this is probably my longest one. It's 2.5 minutes. And I've found that when people do that, A, you can't tell how long it is until you click the link. And then B, some of them expect you to wait through 45 minutes of showing some video of a plywood layout.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, I like to keep it short.
Yeah.
And try to make it interesting and stuff like that. For this one, this is a good example. Yeah, here's the credits. I put in funny stuff. I don't really have any credits on this, but it's just there's the music courtesy of. I didn't have to do that, but I did. And I try to make them interesting, and long videos are not interesting.
5 minutes.
I did a video for the Grand Rapids Convention in 2012 because the OPSIG guys were coming to operate with me.
Yeah.
And it's nice to get a feel for the layout before you're there. And I did a walkthrough from one end to the other explaining it. And it was about half an hour. I don't know if David was asking that, wondering if there was problems if you went over a certain amount of time, or
No,
I've
I was asking in terms of, just in terms of what you feel people are listening to and want. I've had 3 video cameras through the years, never used them. And of course I have video on my cell phone and still never used it except accidentally a couple times. But I've been wondering, with the pandemic going on, trying to experiment doing.
Yeah, it's definitely worth experimenting around and coming up, with a layout tour or something like that. I don't know, it depends on what you're trying to do. I've had people say, oh, you should get a what are those things? A hero camera. What are those?
oh,
But
GoPro
camera and do your whole kayaking trip. And it's like, nobody's going to sit and watch a 2-hour video of the river going by from 2 feet above the river. It's boring.
They want the highlights where you fall out and that kind of stuff.
That's right. And there's a lot of